This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come. And the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. Revelation chapter 11, verse 18. Shalom. We'll start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. It's the brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I brought this quick first precept here. All right, in Revelation, the 11th chapter, the 18th verse. Okay, because we are indeed inching closer and closer, all right, to the day of our Lord. Okay, the day of our Lord, and that day, as many prophets have prophesied, all right, including the modern day prophets, starting from our elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down. Okay, we've been telling people, all right, telling the world, okay, of the times that we're in and the times that we're about to enter into. Okay, this is the most crucial point in human history. Okay, just like before the flood, the Lord had Noah pretty much prophesy, all right, while he was building the ark, to give warning, all right, to the people at that time. And guess what? Those same souls, those same spirits are back here again this time around. And the same spirit of Noah, all right, prophesying of the destruction because of the evil doings of the people of the earth is the same thing as happening again this time around. Like it tells you in the book of Ecclesiastes, the first chapter, that there is no new thing under the sun. Okay, so judgment always comes as a result of wicked deeds. All right. And the Lord told us in Matthew, the 24th chapter, that because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Okay, so being in a time of iniquity simply means lawlessness, right? A state of without law. And the number one law, all right, that's been pushed to the side and trampled on is the laws of the Heavenly Father. Okay, the laws that govern humanity as a whole, starting with the Israelites. Okay, because we set the tone on the earth. If Israel is doing righteousness, the whole earth dwells in righteousness. If Israel is doing wickedness, the whole earth will dwell in wickedness. Okay? Now, this time around, the Lord is not going to destroy the earth, the whole entire earth with water. Okay? But he's going to destroy parts of the earth. Okay, the cancerous part of the earth with fire. All right? And before that ultimate fire and that destruction comes, he's using Esau Edom, all right, to destroy the earth as it is now. Okay, hence Revelation 11 and verse 18. At the last part, it says, and shouldest destroy them that destroy the earth. Okay, and Esau Edom is using many different ways, all right, to destroy the earth. He's starting off with the inhabitants of the world, okay, the philosophies, the ideologies, and ultimately to push people into a corner, all right, where he could use his blessing, which is his sword, okay, to come upon the people with great wrath. Okay, we read that in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. All right, it talks about the fire of a great multitude that's been kindled over you. Okay, and which leads me to this right here. Okay, there's an article that I was reading earlier today. All right, it's talking about some parts of America are already on the verge of being ungovernable as rampant lawlessness spreads like wildfire. So those two things, fire and lawlessness. All right. And in order to quell those two things, you got to have order. Okay, you have to have order. Now, the way Esau is going to bring in that order is through martial law. Okay. We are in the age of fire, right? That's why America will be engulfed in flames when all this is said and done. Okay, I believe in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, it talks about These devils having power, all right, in the side of the beast to what? To make fire to come from heaven in the side of men. Okay? What do you think is going on in the whole Hawaii situation? Lord willing, we'll get into that, a different day, but still gathering information through the spirit. But basically, as is what we've been saying it is, which is that whole dew and so on and so forth, the direct energy weapons. All right, that is an example of them causing fire to come from heaven in the side of men. Okay, because when you look at it, it's literally a direct laser beam that just shot straight down to the ground, and then it ignites and catches on fire, and then it burns everything down. Okay, and when you go into that word fire in the Greek, it's pyro. Okay, and it's so crazy because that's exactly what it is. All right, pyro. Okay, fire. All right, but the point is, all the stuff that's going on, you got Cali, you got New York, you got different states, all right, all throughout the country, all right, something is going on that's building to not only a race war, but rebellion against the governments, right? I don't remember the last time I even saw Biden come out to say anything. That guy's been on vacation for however long, who knows how long, he's not even around, and the country's just toppling down. Every day is getting worse and worse. Healthcare is horrible as it is. The food is just atrocious. You know what I'm saying? The morale, all right, the spiritualism of people has become darker. Okay, this whole LGBT no IQ movement, everything is it's culminating to something big and very chaotic, and they're doing it behind the scenes. Okay, these so-called wicked elites are doing this behind the scenes in order to produce a certain outcome, which is going to end up with martial law. Okay, so let's go into martial law just a little bit. It's one of my favorite things to go into, because that's really when you're going to see these stupid Americans get humbled, man. All right, the Lord is going to use these Gurga troops, these UN troops to come in, dressed like whatever, and they're going to come in and they're going to instill the meanest order you've ever seen in your life. These narcissistic Americans, these belligerent Americans, these entitled Americans, you're going to be getting that discipline very soon. Because a lot of you walk around here with nothing in your head but everything in your mouth to say. Okay? And that is a very dangerous place to be. All right? You're given the sacrifice of fools. And the Lord is going to make sure, all right, that you're checked very soon. Let's read. Martial law is a concept usually discussed with derision and fear among preppers, and with good reason. Any declaration of martial law in the United States is an obvious symptom that something bad has happened, perhaps something society-altering bad. See? So it could be a cyber attack, it could be another state of emergency, it could be a health emergency. At this point, it could be anything. Right? There's a lot of stories going around over the past couple of months of different diseases spawning out of nowhere, and they're not really talking too much about it because it's not time yet. But once the time is up, getting closer and closer to the fall, that's when they're going to start raising it, pushing doing their campaigns again. All right. Normally at the end of this month into September, October, November, shit. It says visions of people being dragged out of their homes. 2 Ezra, the 16th chapter tells you that. Held without cause or warrant. Random checkpoints and equally random searches abound. All this won't be done by police officers, but instead by uniformed soldiers operating out of camouflaged armored vehicles. It is a genuinely scary prospect because it strikes at the heart of what guarantees our inborn rights as Americans, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Those are our privileges. Those are illusions. Those things don't even exist. They're not real. Okay? And once they get you to realize that they're not real, that's when you're going to be like, damn, my Constitution, it's my right. It's my right. You're going to get a barrel of a gun right to the back of your head. And when the time comes and you want to scream your rights and your constitutional rights, your freedoms and so on and so forth, the same damn freedoms that they lie to you about and say, oh, the military is fighting for your freedoms. Yeah, make that make sense. It says, but is it true? Would our military, our uniformed protectors, actually trample on our rights as citizens? Would you and I and everyone we know see our constitutional rights discarded under martial law? It's sad to say, but in a grave enough situation, yes, we probably would. Not probably, yes, you definitely would. You definitely will. And brothers have had dreams about it. When they shut down the whole entire country, people are quarantined behind barbed wires and so on and so forth, and the streets are just dead ass empty. Dead ass empty. You got weeds growing, and all you see is just military troops just, hovering. You got drones flying over. You got military helicopters flying over buildings. You got the tanks, going through the streets. And if they see you outside without any reason or whatever, they'll put you to sleep right away. But in the dream, when they attempted that, that's when the Lord gave us spiritual power to defend against that, because it was unjust, right? It was unjust. But anyway, let's get into this. It says in this article, we don't need to know. Let's just get into it. It says martial law entails a lot of changes to the status quo of law and order over U.S. citizens, but in recent years, it has taken an almost mythical status in the minds of some people, becoming a sort of boogeyman. Yeah, because they think it's a conspiracy theory. You know what I'm saying? Everyone thinks the truth is a conspiracy theory. Again, Americans are the dumbest people on the planet Earth. And can you really blame them? When all the food they eat is all genetically modified, their brains are genetically modified, their DNA is genetically modified after the past 2-3 years, right? So it makes sense why they can't connect the dots. Even when the truth is put right in their eyes, right in their face, they still can't see it. They'll much rather fight the truth and sit home and believe a lie. It's like, what happened to you people? Nowadays, I don't even bother talking to people anymore, because the majority of the people are just dumb as hell and they have no idea what the hell is going on. Everybody want to sound smart, but they ain't saying shit. Everybody's all caught up in their emotions. Reality and emotions are two different things. When real life hits, people don't care about how you feel about what's going on. It's all about survival. Okay? And that's the times that we're coming in. And soon it's going to be all about the Bible. That's it. The Bible is your way to survival, period. All right? And those who know the Bible are going to be the ones who are going to be stable throughout these times, and that's only the elect. Okay, when I say know the Bible, I'm talking about having 100% truth, not this bullshit you people got going on, all this emotional drama, weirdo feminine energy going on. You got men out here getting all frustrated, like, shut the fuck up, bro. Enough. All right? War is coming, and all you females, even in the law, it says it. When the time of war comes, they'll ask you, hey, look, if you don't have the courage to go stand on the battlefield, take your ass home and go sit home with grandma. She'll make you some soup to drink to comfort your little pussy ass. All right? That's a lot of you Israelites. You're about to get that reality check soon. Okay? Remember, it's a time of judgment. Okay? It says, when martial law is declared over a region of the U.S. or even over the entire country, that's going to happen. What it means simply that the military has assumed control of the law enforcement and keeping order over civilian populations in lieu of local government and typical police. Martial law is declared at the federal level by the President of the United States, and at the state level within the confines of the state by the state's governor. Stated plainly, the military will be in charge of your area, your state, or even the entire country. Lock, stock, and smoking gun barrels. Yeah, sounds good right there. I can't wait for these people to suffer, man. Yo, like the people we work with at your job, people are just so rude. So nothing they do makes sense. So ungodly, so wicked, so cold, dumb, retarded. It's just weird, man. You just don't want to be around anyone anymore. You just can't wait. Every day, every single day, we interact with people of this world. It just reminds you of how much you hate this place. Like, it's so vexing, And this is how you know the Lord about to do something, because now it's getting to the point where it's like they're not just being vexing and just moving on and doing their own thing. They notice that you're not with it and they try to push it on you. They find ways to fuck with you, to piss you off. You know, oh, you don't believe in LGBT people? Well, we're gonna purposely come around you more with it, you know, to frustrate you. And if you show any signs of resistance against it, we're gonna label you as anti this or homo that or homophobe this. You know, it's very vexing, man. It's very, very fucking vexing. And when you see people just going along with it without questioning it, it's just like, what is wrong with you people, man? You know, a lot of people are gonna be guilty by association just based on how they think alone. You know, because everybody wants to go with the majority, even when it's wrong and they know it's wrong, they just go along with it because what? It's safer to do so. And now you got these people in the churches, all right, and the Israelites who are in the churches known as IUIC, they just. It says, it is commonly thought that the mass deployment of military forces, including the National Guard, to an area means that martial law has been enacted. This is not the case. Domestic abuse and employment of military troops is a common occurrence for disaster relief, and every time that the state's interest needs a lot of extra manpower. It does not mean martial law has been declared or is in effect. Well, guess what? We're still in a state of emergency. So, in a state of emergency, once the president just declares martial law, all the power goes into FEMA. FEMA is going to take over the whole entire country, all 10 regions, done. And at that point, go and read the FEMA executive orders. And you tell me if that favors the average American or not. You tell me if your government really cares about you or not. And after the past couple of years, if you still think your government really still cares about you, you got another thing coming. All right. It says, these more pedestrian military deployments do not entail the suspension of any civil rights, even though the police and other state powers may have the rule of law on their side for forcing evacuation. The most important distinction is that under martial law, the ranking military officer is in command of the force on the ground will become the head of civilian government for the duration. Martial law is declared only rarely in the U.S. compared to other places around the world, but you should expect to see it enacted, if only on a local level, whenever our government wants to ensure the safety, quote-unquote safety. We know what that word means, right? Stability and good order of a populace in the aftermath of a severe disaster or some majorly threatening event like foreign invasion. Very interesting. Foreign invasion. Where have we heard that before? Looks like Rex 84. Rex 84, the King Alfred Plan. When you read about it, it was formed on the basis that there was some type of foreign invasion, right? And America, you go into New York, even the mayor came out recently and said it, that New York has become a hub for the so-called illegal aliens. That's what they call them. Right, again, it's all to create division, but these are all our people, Northern Kingdom tribes, coming up into a land that they owned before the so-called Europeans came in there and started this whole bullshit of expansion and all this, you know. What's that word? There's a word that they use to take Texas from Mexico. I forget the word, but it'll come back to me. All right, but Esau has always been doing that. They go in there, steal your land, put their name on it, and then kick you off the land and call you a terrorist for coming back into your own land. That's what Esau does, man. All right, and that's why they're gonna be destroyed. Okay, you JJs out there, you're gonna be destroyed, man. You know that. All right, and you are the ones we're addressing. Okay, the Lord got some business to take care of when He comes back, and you devils are His number one on His list. All right. It says we may also see it declared on a similar, on a smaller or larger scale if serious anti-government agitation and civil unrest goes unquelled in a city for a length of time, or when it turns actively violent towards the government. Let's see. Can we expect something like that to happen? Of course we can. Is it prophesied in the Bible to happen? Of course it is. Right? Let's see. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15 and verse 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." That is people uprising in the streets. That is people going against what their governments are telling them because they're finding out the truth. And they're realizing that the truth does not favor them as the government had told them in the past. They've been lied to. Okay? A lot of people are starting to wake up to the fact that their governments have lied to them. And the governments now are in cahoots against the people under the influence of the World Economic Forum and such. You're realizing that your rights are being stripped away from you. Okay? Your freedoms, or so-called freedoms, are being taken away from you. And you're being imposed on by a private entity, okay, non-governmental organization or organizations that are planning to take away all your rights, all your freedoms, right? Everything that you know to be yours will be taken. And they say what? You will own nothing and you'll be happy. Why don't they just say, well, you're not gonna own anything. They say you will own nothing. Very clever, but a very oxymoronic too. You see? And people just don't even catch that. Yeah. It says, you can bet your bottom dollar that any attempt to overthrow or destabilize the legitimate government will see martial law enacted instantly. There's a new sheriff in town. Martial law and you. When martial law is in effect, civilians live under military law and military enforcement of that law. That means that any crimes and violations will be tried in military court as military legal proceedings. I believe that's called the military tribunal, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? It says this is an important distinction you must understand. Perhaps most vitally, habeas corpus will be suspended. Habeas corpus is a right requiring a person under arrest to be brought before a judge or into a courtroom if they feel they've been unlawfully detained. Most sobering, a suspension of habeas corpus means that, at least in theory, U.S. citizens may be detained with no explanation for why and no recourse through a typical court of law in opposition of it. Okay? Remember, the scriptures also talks about some of us going to be in prison for 10 days. Okay? Now, some it could be longer than that. Some it could be shorter than that. But we know 10 days simply means completion. Okay? A complete amount of days. All right? A perfect amount of time, I should say. Okay? But all in all, those who have the faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, we're going to be all right. All right? Look at the example of when Peter was cast into prison. What happened? The church was praying and an angel came and broke him out and guided him and escorted him out of that prison when he had guards. I believe it was a quaternium, if I'm not mistaken. You know, let's see if we can get that real quick. All right. Right. This is the book of Acts chapter 12 and verse 5. It says, Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto the Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth the same night, Peter was sleeping between two soldiers, bound with two chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. And behold, the angel of the Lord Yahweh came upon him, and a light shined in the prison. And he smote Peter on the side, and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. So imagine Peter was panicking, like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? Just got smacked in the middle of sleep while you're in prison. You know? It says, and the angel said unto him, Gird thyself and bind up thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, Cast thy garment about thee, and follow me. So come on, cover yourself, let's go. And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true, which was done by the angel, but thought he saw a vision. When that's how quick it was, in the middle of the night. It's like, oh shit, eyes barely open, you know, it's still dark, you know, we got the lights and shit. It's like, what the fuck? When they were past the first and second ward, they came unto the iron gate that leadeth unto the city, which opened to them of his own accord. Ooh, spiritual power, baby. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. And when Peter was, so the angel was just sent to come break him out of prison. prison break. So don't you think that's going to be happening to some of us when we get cast into prison for doing nothing wrong? Come on. The Lord is not an unjust power, man. We are not afraid of these devils. You devils make up bullshit to persecute the righteous. You don't think the Lord has seen all that? You devils have a lot to pay for it. And war is coming. War is coming. Okay? It says, and when Peter was come to himself, he said, now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel and hath delivered me out of the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. Okay, and what was the expectation? Was for him to be put to death. Okay? It's the same thing now. The Lord said, well, we're going to be hated for his namesake. Okay, for his namesake, not because of anything we did wrong, but it's because we believe on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and we walk in the way of righteousness. Okay, in a wicked world, we expect that kind of persecution. Okay, but we also expect that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai would deliver us in a time of trouble. Okay, we have faith in that. And that's our faith that's going to carry us through. All right, just like the angel, the Lord sent an angel to come get Peter out, the Lord is going to do the same thing for us. Okay, some of us, he's going to give spiritual power on the spot, and we're going to kick you devils in the ass, man. All right, we're going to show you some shit. Yeah, you devils, man. This is going to be a fun time. This is a joke at this point. All right, it's a joke at this point because the Lord is really about to unravel. Okay, holy hell upon this place, and he's definitely going to protect his elect, and we have faith in that. Okay. It says, you could be tossed in a military holding cell and left there, flapping in the breeze indefinitely under martial law. And there was a thing, I might still have it. I might have to go back into it on my computer. This is PDF, very long, a whole bunch of pages. And scrolling through, there's a part where it talks about how they're going to detain the believers. They specifically go into that. They're going to detain Christians, Muslims, people who have some type of morality and so on and so forth. And they talked about the Israelites. They will detain us and so on and so forth. And they said they'll make sure that our mouth is covered, our eyes blindfolded and all that to avoid any type of prayer, any type of chanting, any type of, anything that's going to rouse up people. The heads, they said, the speakers, that is, the men of the Lord that you see in the streets, they're going to make sure that we're not around each other. So if brothers get grouped up, like let's say they roll up on us while we're at camp, it's going to be separation. It's not going to be two brothers in one vehicle. No. They're going to separate. All of us going to be taken to different places to avoid the power charge. Because being with a brother will build your confidence and take away a form of fear from you. They don't want that, right? They want to destroy your faith and build up your fear. That's what they want to do. But that's not going to work. All right, you already put your blueprint out there, you dumbass people. That's not going to work. Okay? Shabby work. Shabby work. It says the good news doesn't stop there. However, here are some other rights on the Bill of Rights you can expect to pencil out while under martial law. You can wave these goodbye. Your First Amendment right, freedom of speech, assembly, and the press, and so on and so forth, is going to be gone. The Second Amendment right, which is the right to bear arms, will be gone. The Third Amendment right, freedom from housing from soldiers, will be gone. Fourth Amendment right, protection from unreasonable search and seizure, will also be gone. Your Fifth Amendment right, protection to life, liberty, and property, will also be gone. See? You should absolutely expect your freedom and freedom of speech as well as freedom of press to be harshly curtailed under martial law, especially if it's the reason for it in the first place. You see? And what have they been pushing lately? Oh, social media and people having the rights to say this and do that, and extremism and terrorism and domestic this and radicalism, anti-Semitism. They're just pitching a case to bring about this new reality. Okay, and they're gonna be they bring in everything. All right, Revelation 12:12 tells you that. Okay. It says citizens agitating against their government or publishing politically charged media that may inflame the crisis will be stopped. Likewise, any fresh ill sentiment against your newly minted military overlords will be similarly put down. And don't even think for 1 second about gathering in public or in large groups organizing for any particular purpose. There's a surefire way to make your rulers nervous. All right. You can also expect door-to-door searches to search for and seize firearms. Small arms in the hands of citizenry have long been a check and major thorn in the side of people who are trying to exert control over a populace. So now you understand why the government is always pushing for gun control. Gun control is not to create a safe and secure society to protect the children in schools. No, there's ways to do that. There are ways to do that. But you see, there's something also known as problem, reaction, solution, which dumbass people think is also a conspiracy theory. Even though it's always played out in their face and we come out and report about it, it's always going to be a conspiracy theory because they're too dumb to realize the truth. Okay? And that's just what it is. The average American has no idea that their government has everything planned against them, and they're using silent ways to keep you docile and to control you. Government means mind control for a reason. Okay? It says, one need not look too far back in United States history to see the first tender threads of this behavior emerging. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, after it struck the Gulf Coast of the United States, police and military both engaged in confiscatory behavior regarding citizens' rights to keep and bear arms. This took place in and around New Orleans. We saw it then, as ever, done under the auspices of public safety or some other mealy-mouthed counterfeit civil good. We are the government and we're here to help you. Also consider that demands for housing, storage, and logistical requirements for outfitting and mobilizing a large military force will mean that you might in fact see your private property confiscated. Okay, look into something known as eminent domain. Okay, that is when your government comes in and they'll tell you, hey, listen, we'll give you this amount of money or whatever shit we're going to give you. Get off the land, get off the property. We're going to be using it for public use or whatever. All right, the government needs your land. They need this. We got to use it for something important. Here's your compensation. Now get off the land. It says, or if not confiscated, temporarily repurposed. That's the nice quote. That's the double speak right there. Temporarily repurposed. Right, just like they told us, it's going to be 2 weeks to bend the curve. And then 3 years later, it's your new normal and you're getting ready to be chipped. All right. This is for the storage of military men and material. Your government and military thanks you for your cooperation, citizen, and reminds you that any complaining or resistance to your ordered volunteerism is a crime and will be punished. This time by death. Death by what? By guillotine. In keeping with the theme of new ownership over civic property, absolutely expect to have all of your holdings searched or inspected at any time for any reason. Remember, you own nothing and you be happy. This is how it starts. Be in rooting. It says be in rooting out dissenters, or be it rooting out dissenters, looking for criminal malcontents, or hunting for newly classified contraband material. The outcome will be all the same. You will have soldiers knocking on your door demanding that you open up at the time or at the most inopportune and inconvenient times, like 3 a.m. on a November cold night, or maybe 5 a.m. during the winter time, 2 in the morning when it's nice and dark and cold and you'd much rather be in your house. Very uncomfortable. Get your doors knocked in, military men screaming in your face, lights in your eyes. Go back and watch the trailer for Gray State. I believe the guy's name was Michael Crawley, if I'm not mistaken. And they cooked his ass, him, his wife, and his kid. I think his dog too. But hey, that's what they do, man. It says you no longer have the right to be free from unreasonable searches or seizure of your property. That is doubly troubling for preppers who have laboriously meticulously accumulated preps for food, medical supplies, and other provisions can see them confiscated for the greater good by military personnel. You hear that? So why are you wasting your time prepping? Now, brother's been saying it. For all those people who prep, guess what? You're probably doing it for the men of the Lord anyway. You see? Because the Lord said in Isaiah, he said, well, his servants shall eat. Right? So if you're not his servant, you could expect to die of famine. You know what I'm saying? Because in the time of famine, Those who are going to survive are only going to be the servants of the Lord and their loved ones. You see, that is the preservation and reservations the Lord has done for his elect. The rest, he's coming for you. You know what I'm saying? Everything you got, including you, right? It says, imagine all the time, effort, and money you spent ahead to be prepared, to be ready, and some goons march in and take it all away. Feels bad, doesn't it? Lastly, your life is about to get a whole lot more orderly, whether you want it or not. Curfews will be a certainty. Movement in, out, and around the area affected by martial law will be watched, curtailed, or halted. You may be expected to check in with the new local authority for any number of reasons. A sort of civic work conscription may be put in effect. You may be expected to answer questions or volunteer information about your property or your skills that could be useful. In short, in a worst case scenario, things will look awfully totalitarian under martial law. And that is what they're building to. All right. I might have to come back and do a part 2 on this video, but this is where I ended off here. I gotta step. Okay. But this is the times that we're in, and this is the times that we're about to get into. Okay. And these things, like I said before, according to prophecy, okay, will be an end result of this. Is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 14 says, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. It's building up already. The whole Montgomery situation was the starting point, as a tone setter. Okay, Esau is nothing for Esau to play on the minds of people to get them geared into that kind of chaotic, hateful mindset, because it's all biblical prophecy. Okay, people fighting against each other and so on and so forth. The prophets already saw it. All right, the Egyptian against the Egyptian. Yahushua talked about nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Right. So one people stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands, weapons in their hands, and what's that going to create? Chaos. And through the chaos, they got to bring what? That order. Okay. So let's jump to verse 6, chapter 16 real quick. And the key point of the martial law part is here. 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 68 says, For behold, the burning wrath of a multitude, a great multitude, is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. You hear that? Everything we just read. Okay, you might consent, you might say, oh, I got to do this, do that. But guess what? Compliance is not enough. It's about worshiping the image of the beast and the beast itself. Okay, you just saying, oh, yeah, I'll go with you guys, or I'll answer these questions. That's not enough, because answering these questions is all leading to what? To you being imprisoned at the end of the day. Okay, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. That is the main reason why they're going to be coming in anyway. Doing away with Bibles and the Bible believers, all right, because that's their number one threat, okay, to their so-called New World Order, the scriptures and the truth, period. Okay, and who's at the top of that, the helm of that? The prophets, starting from my elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, period. Okay, it says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. You hear that? For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Who's going to be doing that? The military troops. When? In the time of martial law. Okay? But then the scripture says what? The Lord said what? This is the guarantee, the surefire guarantee right here. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Okay, so it's through our trials that the Lord is going to show us forth of being worthy of being his men. Okay, because our trials is only going to be what? It's going to make us purified. The Lord already told us that he's going to be with us during the time of our trial. Okay, he told us not to worry about anything to say, because he's already going to be there to talk for us. Okay, he'll give us a mouth that no man can gainsay nor resist. That includes these devils. Okay, whatever question they're going to have, the Lord has already prepared a brilliant answer to give back. And they're going to be looking back like, oh shit, what the fuck? What are we dealing with here? Listen, we're not going to talk to these men. Just kill them. Just kill them. All right, just kill them. You know, it says here, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Okay, he will deliver us from the same, man. All right, that's Revelation 3 and 10 right there. Okay? So I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you were edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah Kodash, the water Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And expect part 2, all right, shortly. Shalom.